So, what are your core beliefs? What are they? Every one of us should ask that. What are your core beliefs? I'm going to throw a lot of rabbit trails out here today because I need to. Yesterday, our pastor was gone. I didn't know he'd be out of town. He's invited to preach at another church. I attend a Baptist church. And I've always had a problem with the Baptist church, and we're going to talk about that. One of the problems I do not have with the Baptist church, I've never had a problem with their teaching. Out of all the churches I've attended, Presbyterian, Methodist, Lutheran, so-called non-denominational, which that's another racket, Assembly of God, Pentecostal. If you want sound biblical teaching, I'm going to get in trouble for this. You're not going to get sound biblical teaching in the following places: Kingdom Hall, LDS, and Catholic Church. You're not going to get sound, expositional, verse by verse, solid, accurate Bible teaching. You're not going to get sound theology. And you got to be careful even in evangelical churches, because many of them embrace evolution. Many of them embrace speaking in tongues. Many of them teach you and lose your salvation. And you got Christians and non-Christians that believe I'm going to go to hell because I'm dressed like this. Does the Bible teach that? People quote Deuteronomy 22:5, but they forget the first half of the verse. They zero in on when a man dressed like a woman, but the first part of that verse says, when a woman dressed like a man. Man, look out there in society. Women are not only dressing like men, they act and talk like men. People are silent. If you're going to quote scripture, make sure you quoted it all guilty involved. But let's talk about what I observe. So I went to church. He's a guy in his 30s. He's never spoken, never says hello. Clicky. He came in yesterday and taught Sunday school. Dressed the part and had a sidearm right here. I'm like, and he said something. He actually spoke about the Anthony Carmelo, Austin Metcalf skirmish. He did not unpack it the way I did. He just said, what's wrong with people that a skirmish turns into somebody getting killed? He said, people shooting in churches. He said, well, I'm prepared. And I didn't catch that until I saw him, like, oh, he's got a pistol with a case and a carrier strapped to his waist. Started thinking, should Christians be armed going to church? Should we trust in God or our weapons? That's a whole discussion right there. When I went to an Assembly of God, our pastor was armed there. It's pretty sad in America where when you go to church, you don't know if somebody's going to come in and open fire. You don't know what people are going to do today. But what is it with the Baptist church that there's very little love and care? When I stood up, pastor walked down the aisle one day and asked people if they needed prayer, what they wanted to talk about, and I mentioned that I had lost my job because I had talked about an event that happened in Cincinnati, and I was accused of being racist. And the biggest spiritual people out there, nobody came up after and said, I'm so sorry. Nobody cared. I'll never put myself out there in front of the church again. And pastor believes in being a member. You should be a member and you should be there every time the church doors are open. I don't believe that. I used to. When I got saved, I went to Wednesday night, Sunday night. Then I started driving a school bus and I had to get up so early. And I didn't have a car for a long time. I'm not going to catch a bus. By the time I get home, it'll be 10, 11 o'clock. On a work night? No. And even now, I don't have a connection with the people. And people ask, why are you so critical of others? Gee. I mean, I've pretty much been honest on here that I've been criticized all my life, still am. And that's what prompted me to do what I do. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm going to get criticized, so let's give them reason to criticize. Are you a cross-dresser? No. Are you transitioning? No. What? That don't make no sense. What if I like this? What have I found for all the years? Me showing up in jeans and a t-shirt out there in society, you just blend in. I don't want to just blend in. I just want to be comfortable in my skin. And no, a man wearing woman's clothing does not send you to hell. You want to know what sends you to hell? Rejecting Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. That's it. You reject Jesus, there is no remedy for your sin. There's nothing. You're done. Washed up, beach whale. And why is it that Baptist churches can be cold, loveless? They know the right stuff, but people don't care. I go in there, nobody can hug me. I mean, a couple of the women that are my age and older, they'll say, hi, Mike. But even the choir director's wife, I don't answer the question. I get so tired, and women get on my nerves with this. Hi, Mr. Mike, how are you? They don't want to know the answer. They don't wait to hear the answer. Yesterday, how are you? I said, how are you doing? Because they're not interested in, they don't want to hear the real answer. Their world is not the same as mine. Husband works hard, but he makes good money. She's not out there slugging out in the heat of a warehouse. She's not out there. She's not in my skin. And she responded with the classic, I'm doing well. Why are women in the church answering it that way? That's the corporate. I'm doing well. The guy in the freight office, I'm doing well every time. Never, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm all right. What's with this? And I've noticed something over the years. Don't matter if it's in the church. It don't matter where you are. Society is being streamlined to all walk in lockstep with each other. And I am a contrarian on purpose. There's a reason for it. I get more men on here with a beard. They may or may not have a channel. Most of them don't have a photo of themselves. And they leave rude comments. What the F did I just watch? What the F? This guy needs mental help. Oh, you're a certified psychologist and clinical guy? Huh. I don't see that on your moniker. My channel is my therapy. You got people on the internet that get money. They're making a living off of this. Put a toilet seat on their head, or they can go woo, or got the shower running and got a triangle of metal on their head and saying that they're God. And they actually have a fan club and moderators, and you're just like, and people come over here and say, WTF. Bruh, it's a man wearing a woman's clothes. What's the problem? That ain't right, man. It's not right for you. Keep it moving. And even the choir director got on his thing yesterday. He had a good message. He had the thunder in it. And he tends to be very testosteronic. And we have to realize that people, their personality comes into their ministry. Mine is no exception. I don't call this my ministry. I'm not a pastor. I'm a communicator. I'm not a content creator. I don't create content. God created, not me. I would never call myself a content creator or an influencer. I am a YouTube speaker. I'm Michael Nelson. And I like who I am. What I don't like is the dark side of things that displease God. And how do you get through life? Like today's Monday. It's going to be 90 degrees. The warehouse is not AC. You're sweating bullets. Hurry up and get this stuff done. And it's not the worst job in the world, but it ain't for milquetoast. Every woman that's come through there doesn't want to do it. This young generation, I'm going to go take a nap in my car. You're at work. Yeah, but I need my nap. What, you think you can get paid and take a little nappy? It's a different world out there. And the guy that preached Sunday school that never says hi, his message was simple. Didn't challenge me. It's not his fault. And people get mad when I say this, and there's curmudgeon people. There's a couple, they don't exactly look like the vibrant kind of couple I want to hang out with or look as mentors. And he was very rude. I was telling the pastor's wife some appropriate jokes and stick to your day job, Mike. Stick to... Bro, I'm not even talking to you. Very rude. And I said something to the pastor. He said, yeah, he mentioned something about it. He was joking. I said, no. I said, he was pretty serious, pretty rude about it. Then I've noticed it doesn't matter even in church. People don't have the ability to say, I'm sorry when they wrong somebody. When I'm wrong, and I know I'm wrong, I will. Man or woman say, I was out of line. You know, most Americans cannot do that anymore. Trolls that get on the internet with their hate and rude comments. They do not have an ability to actually step outside themselves and say, what are you trying to do here? Leaving that comment, what good does that do? Maybe that's just it. Maybe they don't care about good. They want to talk about, I'm hypocritical, so I'm wearing woman's clothes. But are they even following this? I guarantee you that 99% of the trolls come on the internet. They have no conscious awareness of God. That is a smoke and mirrors lie. And I look at people out there, some of the most beautiful women have shown up on my channel. And they totally support me being myself. Years ago, when I had my former channel where I was putting the boot in on Western women, I didn't have a lot of women. Now the channel has a huge amount of women. And I find it interesting, Scotland, Ireland, and the UK, I'm getting a ton of people from there, and Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And my channel is not just my little local yokel Augusta, Georgia thing. It's reached out to the globe. And you got men and women from the UK, Scotland, Ireland are tired of what's happening in their country. They're tired of woke stuff, and they come here because it's a safe place. I hate to tell you this. There's more community on my channel than there is and ever will be in the church I attend. Because I can't deal with people. I'm doing well. Well, the classic recycled response. Of course you're doing well. Your husband makes good money. You don't have to go out there and slug it out the warehouse. You don't live like I do. Yeah, I'm sure you're doing well. It just blows my mind. I'm in an awkward age. I'm 60. I'm single. I have a son in Colorado, but I don't have a kid here. So I'm not part of the family scene. I'm not part of the Christian single scene. We don't even have that at our church, and I don't think that those are merit worthy anyway. There really is no outreach for us men. You know, if you got a wife and you got kids, you're part of the whole deal. When you're alone, you looked at different. This week I was focusing on a very pretty woman. Got my attention. And then it's sad to realize, again, I think I'm not naive, and I realize you were just taken again. You believed in somebody. And they excuse their behavior by saying, well, sometimes I just check out and go incognito. And I've had woman after woman after woman do that. Oh, I like you. I'd love to date you. Oh my gosh, I'd like to give you a hug. Oh my gosh. And then poof, a month goes by, nothing. And one specifically said, I want to get to know you. Is that why 4 days go by and no response? That's dead in the water. And I realize my channel, my church, my workplace, my parents. And you got the analysts that come on my channel. Were you abused? Do you dress like a woman? As a matter of fact, I was. But is that why I do this? I don't know. I like eroticism. I like erotic art. Now, there's a conflict because the Bible talks about staying away from passionate lust. Well, I definitely have passionate lust. And like I said last night, I have chosen to be true to my own self. Are you a cross-dresser? I like how people like to stigmatize. No, I'm not a cross-dresser. I wear my own style. But you're wearing a woman's clothing. No, a woman has never worn this at all. So is it woman's clothing? I cut off a camisole. I got 2 for 1. I know I'm being semantical because, you know, this world kind of begs for that. What are you trying to do with this? I don't know. Exploring myself. I'm not trying to provoke God. That's foolish. As if I can. How do you live the Christian life? What does it look like? You go to a Baptist church, it's undershirt, button up, collared shirt, suit, tie, jacket. And I see sweaty men wearing way too much clothing for the weather here. I'm like, man, I am not going to church and going to be stuffy. Does anybody in that church care about me? No. No. Why would they? And this comment that I just made resonates with men and women all through the internet. Michael, that's why I don't go. Church is unfriendly, they're cold, they're cliquey. Do you know why I go? Because we're told to. Wish I could find it, but it's in Hebrews. Let us not forsake the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some. But all the more as you see the day approaching. Do you not, Christians, see the day approaching? Talking about a cashless society. They're talking about AI and data centers. They're talking about drought out west. They're talking about Lake Mead, Lake Powell, 130-foot drop. That they're getting to a point where they'll cease generating electricity coming through the spillway. So let's create data centers that take 500,000 gallons of water to cool them. What do we need the data centers for? What's going on? Guess what? I love when women say, you don't know me. Somebody does. And it's not just God. Every keystroke you make on this internet, every picture, everything you look at, you just left a fingerprint. Whoever controls all that could come out and say, this is what Michael Nelson has looked at and done on the internet. All the way back to 2008, 2007. You can get a VPN, but no matter, still traceable. And they're watching us. They're watching what we buy. They're watching what we talk about. Starmer in the UK, they're monitoring people's internet so they can bang on your door and arrest you for saying something offensive. Boy, does this not sound like the Third Reich? Does this not sound like Hitler? And yet, Brits and people are folding because the fear is real. And I'm telling you, there's enough citizens in those countries that they need to push back. Not by rioting and destruction, but they need to say, you know what, you're done. It's interesting that the police says they're here to protect and serve. Who and what? Who and what? Yesterday I talked about the workplace. Do they care about you? No, they don't. They care about profits. Amazon has become a bulldozer. They're building another center close to where I live. Lady at work told me that. We're going to lose people. I smiled. I said, good. Let it happen. Then maybe the company will kick in a few extra bucks an hour. I don't believe that I get paid fairly for what I do. And King David asked a question. Why do the wicked prosper? Look at YouTube. People that have no content are making a full-time living at their foolishness. People that are godless, heartless in politics, you can come up with foul music singing about your wet vagina and make millions of dollars. I work hard every day. I'll never be a millionaire. Never. It's an upside down world. And I thank God that my channel's drawing people from Scotland, Ireland, and the UK. Because guess what? We're in a world, folks. And people are looking for truth from one continent to the other. And people come to me and said, you know, I know you're different, but man, you're the clear voice out there. I watch some of these channels, they're a joke. And you got those that worry more about the clothing I'm wearing than the content of what I'm talking about. If the professional I'm doing well set at my church saw my video and saw this, they'd be going, what in the world? That's okay. There's more thunder in my channel than there is in that church. There's more community with men and women on this channel that come here. Young lady from down under. I have a tender heart for her. She's got a tumor deep in her brain. They're watching it. Her eyes hurt. You see, when you get saved, God gives you a tenderness. You notice people that aren't saved, they're calloused, soulless, heartless. They're the ones that'll go 90 miles an hour down the shoulder just to cut in front of you. They're the ones that'll stuff their shopping cart full of 99 rolls of toilet paper during COVID, and somebody says, hey, can I at least have one roll? No. Grown adults acting worse than toddlers. Then you go to church and you got to feel guilty. You go to work. You try to honor your boss. You try to honor God. And your supervisor makes a cutting dig. Even in the reviews. Mike, you and I are different. We're not the same. Thank you for reiterating what my parents and everybody's told me. Duh. I don't want to be like you or anybody else. It sucks. It's boring. And what you fail to realize, supervisor, what you fail to realize, you said I work harder than you. So there's a trade-off. I'm not going to stand around and talk about sports and vape and get into your world. But look at how much less you have to worry about. There's a trade-off. Go find somebody that works like me down here. I challenge you. It's hot. I'm not made for this. I was made for colder weather. But when you get older, you don't want to be in that. You go to church. Church should be exciting. Church should be the place. I don't feel the love in there. I see a lot of insincerity. I see a lot of people going through the motions. When an altar call, the teens and the entire family runs up and bows. I never go up to that altar. I refuse to do that showtime. I look at the people in the choir. I look at the teens raised in Christian homes. You got the narcissist up there. I'm going to say something really harsh. I call her Mrs. Blandface. Her body language and everything, grossly immature. She's rude. Doesn't say excuse me, doesn't smile, say hi to anybody. And she's been doing a lot of the special music. You can just tell by looking at her, boy, she thinks she's all that on a Sunday. Ice cream Sunday. When most of the people get up to sing, I pull out my Bible and just lean over and start reading it. I actually use my time wisely in church. I don't want to listen to these clowns. It's like that song by Britney Spears, Notice Me. In the Baptist church, everybody claps after a performance. Now, people are going to get mad at me at this. If I pay to go to a concert or a classical music concert, I'm going to stand up because you're performing. I refuse to clap at a church. Number one, we're supposed to worship God. I'm not here to clap at your performance. Why are churches doing that? And we're singing the same songs, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. Our repertoire is narrow. It's become like the radio stations. Same 10 songs every hour. Every day. We play the 80s. They're the same 10 songs. Barracuda. Don't you forget about me. I mean, how much music was there in the 80s? If I was rich, I'd love to have a radio station. We'd have music, we'd have controversy. Today I want to talk about cyclists riding their bikes on the sidewalk, ignoring crosswalks, pedestrians, and red lights. Let's get the cyclist community agitated today. They're jerks. Let's poke the bear. Let's talk about idiot drivers that think the speed limit doesn't apply to them, turn signals don't apply to them, and keep right except to pass. Boy, I notice people are knuckleheads. Everybody drives in the left lane, and they bully others out of it. You know, the law in every state is keep right except to pass. But you and your truck, and you're just going to drive in the left lane and just stay there, camping. I love the arrogance of most Americans. You point out, you know, with the driver manuals, ooh. Oh, now you're going to get macho with me. I think most people in this country have a real hard time seeing their own personal flaws. Somebody got on my channel once and said, this guy has no self-awareness. Really? Have you listened to any of my videos? I'm very self-aware. I'm very aware I'm a total fail before God. Do I think God is pleased with my little thing here? Probably not. Probably not. But is God pleased with somebody who, as long as I got my suit and tie, I'm doing well? Is he into that? How many Americans fake it? Insincere. Can I say something to most of the women out there in churches? We don't need artificial intelligence. We got it sitting right here every Sunday morning. You spend all day in the bathroom mirror getting ready for church. You're fake. You're plastic. Superficial conversations. Why do I need a data center and AI? It's already been here. I'm sick of artificial intelligence. I'm tired of everybody walking in step. I'm doing well. You're programmed. You are a DOS system. You are a green screen computer. You've got mail. I'm doing well. Our society has become conditioned and programmed, and it's like those cookie dough tubes you buy that you put in the freezer. When you're done, you open it and you go. I'm not like that. And when you're not like that, let's use an illustration. I don't care if it's at church or the corporate world. I notice corporate world has gotten into the church. And everybody's become one of these. That's gay. I don't want to be like that. I can't be like that. When somebody asks how I'm doing, I wrestle with that. I have triggers. I have emotional triggers. I watch Baptists, they all do this. They're rude, they're unfriendly, but when they get up in the pulpit, they'll sit there and hand movement, gestures, everything is acting. Everything's scripted. Nobody going to get up like me and keep it real. They're not going to do that. They make little, hee-hee jokes that silly people laugh at. Crowd control. It's scripted. The Baptist church is scripted. And it bothers me because the Baptist church has been a hallmark for expository sound theology and Bible teaching. I went to a Pentecostal church, or I should say an Assembly of God. More people would actually gather around me and care about me than I've ever seen in a Baptist church. But then they got the speaking in tongues and all this other hoopla. Our nation has always been a pendulum. Democrat, Republican. Democrat, Republican. Tick, tock. Oh, everybody's on TikTok. Mike, did you see the TikTok? I don't watch TikTok. What? What's wrong with you? I don't go tick, tock, tick, tock. I criticize Republicans. I criticize Democrats. Democrats are demonically infested. I have nothing good to say about the Democratic Party ever. Never will. They're demons. And they are destroying and dismantling our society, and it's been exported to the UK, Europe. It's terrible. And they're pushing socialism while everybody who's the leader in there is a multimillionaire. That's not socialism when it's an Amway scheme. Get everybody to sucker up under you, get them to believe the lies, and you will own nothing and be happy while they own it all. I cannot believe how young people today are believing socialism is good. Young people, read about the Third Reich and pull your head out of your butt cheeks. It's coming again. You think the government's going to give you a free ride? Well, when they run out of money, then who are you going to depend on? You're going to be eating your cat and eating the dog. They're eating the cat and they're eating the dog like they did down in Venezuela. You think I'm joking? Communism, aka socialism, has never, ever worked. I'd go toe-to-toe with Kim Jong-un and Xi Jinping. Clowns. Those aren't leaders, they're freaking clowns. And do you notice? They dress professionally just like people on Sunday morning. What the hell is the difference? I'm doing well. People don't get it. People just, if you want to dress for success, do it. I'm just telling you. Be aware. It's not me and people that do what I do that are destroying this country. I go to work. I pay my taxes. I take care of my stuff. I treat people right. I'm not in the majority. I'm in the minority. I don't do what everybody does. I don't want to be like other smelly, hairy, sweaty guys. And they'll sit there and say, you're a man. Why are you acting? I'm not acting. I want to be sensual. I want to be sexy. And I want to be who I am. That's so wrong as a Christian. Is it? So it's okay to be spiritual and have a right understanding of the Word of God and be rude to everybody in church because they're not part of your clique. That's more okay, and I don't wear the clothes. And now, I'm growing my hair back, and they don't like that down here at all. Man, I wish I could grow my hair like a chia pet and have it down to my butt. And people forget about a Nazirite vow. Not to take a razor to their head. And now they say it's a sin for a man to have long hair. So God changed. That's what you're saying. It wasn't a sin to have long hair as a Nazirite, but it's a sin to have long hair now. Really. Number one, every Christian listening to me, every Christian in that church that I go to, they sin. Even the unfriendly Sunday school teacher admitted he's got a problem when he gets on the road. He admitted he's not a good driver, but he said people in Augusta don't use their turn signal. They tailgate, cut in front of me, and he says, I admit I get upset. Well, I'm glad you're honest. And that's why on my channel, you're not going to see me get up in a collared button-up shirt. That's not who I am, and it's not who God made me to be. If I became a public speaker, I'm going to dress just like this at a convention center. If I became a corporate big shot, I'm going to walk in the boardroom just like this. I don't believe in the corporate world. It's oppressive. It sucks away ingenuity. It sucks away individuality. It grinds to powder people like me. And when you got Christians playing a little game of, I'm doing well, and the corporate people answer, the Bible says, love not the world is in the church. But people get more excited about that they know 3 letters, WTF. Don't think on it too hard, little boy. It's just me being me. And I do have a right understanding of this. I will say that. I'm not God. I don't pretend to be God. I don't walk uprightly as I should every day. My mind morally is a sewer. I love women. I like looking at pictures of women. How many women have gotten on here and pulled on my heart? Led me to believe they were interested. And puff, the magic dragon went away. And I don't care how godly you think you are. Even the Beatles had a song, All I Need Is Love. Dun, 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 dun. All I need is love, love. And it ain't out there. Women love me if I was a millionaire. Women would love me if I was guilty of murdering people, and then they could have an online relationship with me and marry me when I get out of jail. But a guy that works hard and goes and owns a house and no debt, oh no, they're not interested in that. This ain't the 50s anymore. Come on, Mike. You got to be edgy or rich. And I flirt with some of the beautiful women on my online forum. They're very sweet and nice. You know what I've noticed? Do you know what I've noticed? Do you know who's extended invitations for me to come and be and spend vacation in their home? Women in Ireland, the UK, Scotland, Australia, New Zealand. It's too bad I didn't have loads of money. Because just in Caucasian women, there's a difference over there. More loving, more sweet. Accept me for who I am. Now there's American women right here that accept me, don't get me wrong. There's married women on my channel that like the content. But I was disappointed. A woman came into my chat. She's okay looking and she's flirting and I flirted, and then I dug deep in her channel and she's got her husband. I'm like, oh boy, a bearded guy that looks like he could get off a Harley. And I'm like, this woman has been flirting with me and I've been flirting, and that's going to stop right now. And I said, I didn't know you were married. I'm done flirting. No response. Women, if you're married, get it together. Don't play with my heart. Don't do that. Now, we can talk about the way I dress, but that's a no-no. You got a husband? Stop it. If your marriage ain't going well, then divorce or something, but don't do that. I don't want somebody else's leftover wife. Okay? Not interested. What I mean by that is whatever you got going on in your life that you think it's okay to flirt and lead me as a single guy on, I'm going to tell you it ain't okay. I lived in Hong Kong. And I'm going to share a story. And it's all true. I had spent a lot of time and money and heart and energy on a woman, and it was a Filipina. And I was all hook, line, and sinker all over her. It's funny how enough time goes by and you look back and go, what was I thinking? I could have had a V8 moment. And when that fell apart in 2011, 2012, when I finally said, this is over, I was stuck here for 5 months. I got discouraged. And I put my morals on the back burner. And Julio Iglesias became my theology. To all the women I've loved before, and I pursued them all in Hong Kong. About 10 women, to be exact. I enjoyed every bit of it. The diversity of breasts, the diversity of women, the diversity of lovers. There are several that stand out in my mind that I enjoyed making love with. There was Myra, there was Jenny, Sylvia, Edith, Mary, Luna. My gosh, beautiful women that made me feel like a man. We were sweating. One woman 3 times that day. We were dripping wet when we were done. We'd shower, we'd go to lunch, we'd come back and do it again. We'd eat dinner, do it again. I'm telling you, it was awesome. And you come back to America and they play stupid games, and you gotta play this dumb little online or text for 9 years before you can get a coffee date. I'm sorry, I'm done with that. Peter, get off the pot. And I know that biblically, I wasn't walking in obedience. But one of the women that I got involved with, she was the most fascinating of them all. She was Chinese. She was married. I didn't know it. They don't wear the ring, bling, ding, 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 ding. What's going on? And I ended up having an affair with a married woman simply because of a language barrier. And she was on the ferry. She was stretching. She had a short haircut and that little ponytail right up here. She called it a pea chow. She was a year older than me. She was cute. And I looked at her. She was stretching. I thought, look at that cute lady stretching on the back of the ferry every day. She looked at me and she went, almost like Barbara Eden. I thought, okay, that's it. She looked and smiled. I'm going in. I went over there and she started talking 90 miles an hour in Cantonese. I didn't understand a word. I said, I don't know any Chinese. We fell in love with each other. One day her shoe broke when she was stretching. The whole front of the shoe cracked. She looked at me, hiya. I said, I motioned, give me the shoe, and I held the shoe up. I got a little burn mark. There's a freckle that's a little spot on my arm. I can't even remember which arm it is now. Now I'm getting freckles and age spots. Isn't that fun? But I measured the shoe. And I thought, I'm going to go find those shoes today. And she looked at me and she go, wing on. Wing on. I looked at her and said, wing on. I know wing on. Okay. Wing on was a huge department store down in Hong Kong. I thought, good, she narrowed the store down. So I went into the store after I walked her to work after the store opened, and Chinese lady, can I help you? I said, I'm looking for a certain kind of shoe for a lady. And I went in there and I saw the shoes. She goes, this is very popular. I said, yes, you work at a restaurant. Yeah, this good work shoe, all around wear shoe. I said, these are the same ones. I held it up and I saw where the heel went. I said, let me buy these. Who you buy these for? I said, well, I'm interested in a woman, Chinese. Oh, you like Chinese? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. And when I met her late that evening to take the ferry back to Lama or Lantau, I had the shoes in a bag and she looked. I said, never mind. We get on the ferry and I hand her. She opened the box. She pulled her shoe off, put on. She stand up. That woman throw her arms around me. You know, she would answer her phone and be her Chinese friend. And she'd be looking at me smiling while on that phone. I'm like, she's talking excited to her friend. And what I didn't realize is she's talking to her saying, I met this man and he just bought me shoes and he's so good to me. American women give you a moody attitude and then you're sitting there going, what's wrong? Nothing! Oh, really? Your response sure proved it. San Moi will always be a memory. I moved to Central Hong Kong. For the last couple of months I was there, I told Moi I'd be moving. But I'd meet her at the ferry every day. I found a way to communicate with her. One day I walked down to the ferry, and I knew as I rode it every time. And people pour off the ship and no more. I'm like, oh, maybe she didn't go to work today. Then I start walking back to Shangwan along the waterfront. Got quite a ways away and I heard something. And just before I get fully turned around, I feel something jump on my back, I almost collapse to the ground. And it was her. She wrapped her arms around my neck. I said, wow, Moi, you scared me. But I smiled. In Chinese culture, they say face. Moi didn't say face anymore. She was drawn to me. She said, I don't care what society thinks. I love Michael and I'm going to throw my arms around him right out here in public. Here they just play games. They talk about I haven't felt loved. I just want to. You talk about you want love and then you play with my heart. Who do you think you are? Running around leaving scars. Collecting your jar of hearts. You women do it to men and you sing that to us. Give me a break. Pee or get off the pot. I will always look back on San Moi. And one day she tell me, she said the Chinese word for tomorrow, which I've forgotten. She said in Chinese, tomorrow, gun lei hoi, Michael. I'm like, gun lei hoi, gun lei hoi. She grabs my arm. Tomorrow, gun lei hoi, Michael. Gun lei hoi, gun lei hoi. What is gun lei hoi? And I started trying to figure out what she was saying. So I'd say the Chinese word for tomorrow, and I'd say, tomorrow, Chuck Yen. No, Chuck Yen. Gun lei hoi, Michael. Then I figured it out. She's off tomorrow. She wants to be with me. Mañana, no, Chuck Yen. No, Michael. Okay, then. San Moi is going on a date with me. It was a drizzly, cold Hong Kong day. I meet her at the ferry. She grabbed my arm tightly. She pulled me. We were walking and she jerks my arm and pulls me right into this restaurant. And we get congee. I've never had it. Man, that warmed me from my toes all the way. I never felt so good in my life. We're sitting there eating congee and she just smiling. I said, boy, this is good. We go down and walk to a double-decker bus, and we go up to Victoria Peak. They had an unusual shaped building up there. And it had a gift store, and it had a Bubba Gump's, and it had an observation deck. I've been all through it. We didn't go into there because it was drizzling. So we went into a gift shop across the parking lot. She held up this tiny little Hong Kong coin purse. That's all she wanted. I said, wow, that's all she wanted? She wanted a souvenir of our outing. We walked under the jungle canopy and not getting wet. 2 miles of the trail that goes on the top of the Victoria Peak. I tell her at a certain point, Moy, hold on. And I point to my thing. I said, I have to go potty. And I run down off the path and go into the trees. And man, I'm starting to unzip my pants. She come right around and no fear. I said, Moy. And I unzip my pants. She goes, wow. I said, oh my gosh. And she grabs it gently. And I'm like, okay. She's got her hand on my gear shift. And I hugged her. Oh, what a woman. We went back to my place and promptly made love, and let me tell you, it was awesome. Most people think she was a plain Jane Chinese, but my gosh, she had so much in her. And what I liked is that I couldn't know her like American women. I liked her because there was so much mystery. Did not know she was married until the day I left. March 5th, 2012, Mouse accompanied me to the airport, and I had her call. I said, Moy, I think, is waiting at the airport. You know Cantonese. They rode back together on the bus after I caught my flight, and Moy said, you know, never in my life do I meet a man like Michael. I'm married and my husband is horrible. We had kids, they're grown, and I'm unhappy. But you just stay in it. You do what you got to do. Michael bought me shoes. Michael treated me like a woman. I would have gone anywhere with Michael. I said, wow, Mouse, she's married. I had an affair. We'd get off the ferry and I'd walk her to the bus turnaround. I lived in Moi Wah and it was no cars. But from the ferry dock, there was a road that came down into the village of Moi Wah. But I lived in a part of the village where there was no roads, no cars. I had to walk a couple miles to Kate's house or her flat that she rented to rent my bedroom. I loved it. I thought, I could get used to this life. San Moy will always be in my memoirs. I'm 60, she's 61. What's she doing now? For a woman to divorce in Hong Kong culture is not advantageous. She works 7 days a week at Chok Yen Seafood Restaurant. I complain that the weekend goes by too fast. She doesn't have a day off. She appreciated the shoes. We were on the ferry, and she opened a jar with what looked like olives. She put it in her mouth and she go, and she pushed one in between my lips. And the minute that hit my tongue, it was the most bitterest substance I ever had in my life. I mean, I couldn't help it. I'm facing the stern of the ship and I went, pooh, and shot that thing out in the South China Sea. And she started laughing so hard. I said, Moy, what is that? It's nasty. She was laughing and doubling over. She put her arm around me. I said, wow, that was so bitter. And she's popping them like olives. She used to take her little pint milk carton and throw it into the ocean. And I said, no, stop. She looked at me and I gently grab it and I throw it in the trash can on the deck. I said, no good. No good. Don't throw in the ocean. And then the people working on the ship come down with a big plastic dish tub full of rags and fish heads and over the boat. Wow, they just throw everything in the ocean here, pigs. But I taught Moy not to litter. She would throw that milk carton and you'd see the prop washing. She'd watch it bob. She'd lean on the rail. And I said, Moy, you're so cute. Stop littering. She'd watch the little milk carton bob in the wake. This is a true story. The U.S. is a ghost town. The internet is Broadway at night. That's why I'm stuck here. The lights are on, all the people, the shows. Michael! The minute I turn it off, reality's harsh. I think I'd do better living in a ghost town with tumbleweeds blowing down the main street and hearing saloon doors go than I would in a working society with people and nobody cares. You go to church on Sunday morning. How's Mr. Mike today? I really want to turn around and say, do you give a shite? Because I'm so tired of you people playing this. And women play the fake game well in our society. Why? Do you really want to know the answer? And if I tell you, do you have anything to give me? Any encouragement, any prayer? No. We're just taught to be fakes. I don't need artificial intelligence. I don't need people wasting money on data centers and consuming hundreds of thousands of gallons of water. Everybody should protest this. We need real intelligence. We need real love. Moy was an affair, it was a tawdry affair, but I'll tell you what. If she was single and I had the means, I would have taken her to my side in a minute. Never had a fight. Don't got to worry about Starbucks and dog obsession or any of that. Moy would have been enthralled with me. She would have loved riding in my truck. Oh my gosh, she would have loved me taking her places and seeing the wonders of America. Here, women pout and fuss and get moody, and one day you're up with them, the next day they're rude as hell, and you're like, what did I do? You didn't do nothing. Oh my gosh. Then somebody shows an interest, you think, oh my gosh, she's pretty. Michael, if it sounds too good to be true, probably is. Stop believing, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. I swear, I feel like God has put iron bars between me and women. A big jail door. Of course I'm going to reflect back on Moy. She wasn't into sex. She let me exploit her body. When I lost myself, she wrapped her arms tightly and smiled, and she wanted to please me. She was so into me that she gave herself to me simply. She wasn't into the sex. She loved me. I don't know why women and men are wired so different. Oh, I made her feel good. Don't get me wrong. She told Mouse, never a man made me feel like Michael. He was so tender, so sweet. So nice. I felt valued as a woman, and I've never felt that in my life. And you got all this feminism, entitlement, and rude ass narcissism. Even the teens learn it. You can just see it in their face how immature and stuck up they are. It's weird. Women's faces reflect reality. I don't know why, but it's just you can see in their face what they are. But I'm fooled every so often, you want to believe. There was a video the other day saying that white men that marry black women, there's less divorce. Maybe I'd better start working that minefield again. I saw that black woman at the flea market for the first time Saturday. Oh my gosh, beautiful, slender, petite thing. No bra, had on a cute one-piece dress. And I started saying, man, you look good, well put together. And she goes, I was just going to tell you the same. Come here, let me show you something. And she wasn't afraid to touch me and throw her arms around me. I'm like, wow, what a person who's tactile. Women in our culture are so rigid. She did pop out a cigarette, and I'm like, oh. Just seems like everybody's, and Moy didn't smoke. She didn't drink. I like the idea of living in a place where we didn't even have to have a discussion about marijuana. San Moy played music on her phone. It wasn't edgy and nails on a chalkboard shrieking, you know. It was beautiful. It was Chinese and it was beautiful. Yeah, I missed some of that. It was fun. Sin is pleasurable for a season, guys. I made one last call in Casper, Wyoming. I'd always wanted to go to Wyoming, and when I went to Casper, I was like, wow, I'm glad I never moved here. Bumper to bumper traffic. I checked into the Super 8. It was way more expensive than Montana. And the room smelled like cigarette and God knows what. And I went to Johnny B's Diner, 1950s retro new diner where the waitresses dressed like the 50s. And I walked outside the hotel that night and I called Quan phone. That was my friend in Thailand later on Facebook. I called Sam Moy. She got all excited. I couldn't understand a word because she was talking Cantonese. And I thought, that's my last call. Wyoming, where things die. America, where passion dies. And to hear the Sunday school teacher talk about sober-minded means calm without passion. And the Baptists are good with that. How you doing today? You know, everything is scripted. Everything's contrived. It triggers me. San Moy was a breath of fresh air. Even when she popped that nasty, bitter ball of I don't know what in my mouth, and we made so much laughter about it. And I get up and go to work today, and I just want to say, no, God. But I'm disciplined. You see, you want love. Love is the magic that gets you through the crap. You want a woman to come home to that laughs at funny stuff, that you feel good about. I had a skip in my step with Moy. We'd get off the ferry at night. I'd walk her over to the bus, turn around. She'd get on the bus. The lights were on inside with the tinted windows. And I'd stand there and wait for the bus to move. And she'd go and smile so broadly. I was on the tram one day and took a timeless photo with my Nokia phone. The rain was streaming down the window of the tram, and I titled it Hong Kong Crying. I didn't want to come back to this country. Women are hard. Women don't value me. My mother was abusive. And even though it was wrong, for a moment, I sowed my oats. I felt the love and the passion and the skin and the smell good and the soft, satin, silky, long raven hair and the firm, thick nipple breast pushing into my chest, and I was lost in all of it. And I come here and you're teased and laughed at, made fun of and trolled and hated, laughed at by your supervisor, made fun of, and people say, you're doing a good job today. How are you? I'm doing well. This country sucks. I'm sick of people saying they're making it great again. What? You're going to paint dog shit and say that looks good? That's all we're doing. Painting poop. Painting poop. And then you can put some glitter on it. I speak the truth on this channel. What I wouldn't do to go back in time in Indiana Jones and say, leave that old fart in China. Come on, boy. Let me give you a ride in a M35A2, but we're not doing this in the U.S. Let's take a ride to Petra. Let's go see that old city, half as old as time. Oh, I wish I could live a Hollywood life. A Chinese woman who'd appreciate everything I did for her. I didn't care that we couldn't speak the language. Gary Smalley wrote a book called The 5 Love Languages. Gary Smalley, your book is a joke. It's for boring people. I'll write a book and I'll take a picture of us embracing each other. There's the love language. We had a language barrier from hell. It worked. Even a Canadian came downstairs to the stern, and I noticed this beautiful woman you're with. How did you meet her? I said, right here. She's a doll. She's an absolute doll. She had that cute little sprig ponytail. I pointed, I said, I like that. Ping chow. Moy was funny. Winter in Hong Kong was cold. Not like here, but it was very damp cold. We get down to the 40s. They actually got down to ice a few years ago. And I'd be on that ferry. One day the ship was rolling. I mean, the sea was rough. And Moy was stretching, and I happened to be holding the handrail of the steep steps that went up to the upper deck. And she fell. And it's a good thing I was holding the railing. We both would have tumbled to the deck, and that steel deck would have hurt. And she fell into me, and I grabbed her, and she was, hiya. And she leaned against me. I said, wow, the ocean's rough today, boy. And I put my arm around her. I will tell stories like that because I've tasted something. When I'm with you, it's paradise. Just kiss me once, I'll kiss you twice. It's depressing in this country. Women and their games, women and their hardness, women and their awfulness towards me. It's sad. I had to go live in sin to enjoy what should have been natural with a woman here. Sad. You go to church and women play games. Jenny, She had nice legs. Flirted with me, came on to me, and then texted me all that afternoon. Christian man should be wealthy. Where the hell does it say that? I haven't found that anywhere. Tell you what, it's hot when the air conditioner's running at 2 in the morning. This is rare. I don't remember this turning on once in 6 years of owning the house this late. I don't know what's going on, but this is strange ASS weather. It's raining out there too, or it was. The pastor or the preacher got up yesterday and said, you can follow your heart. And he did attack something that I agree with. He attacked Sinatra. He said, I know there's old people here who love Sinatra, and I did it my way. He said, there's nothing biblical about that song. And he's right. But he went on, he said, I don't care about feelings. And, you can talk about, if it is not of God, forget your feelings and following your heart. It's not right. And that's where Baptists can be so brutal. I'd like to stand up and give a sermon and say, you guys have the right doctrine, but you don't have any heart. And you talk about calm, no passion. You guys are almost dead in here. I can tell by the music. We can't broaden out. I notice nobody in the church wants to play John Michael Talbot. Nobody today wants to listen to good stuff in the church. You are my hiding place, oh Lord. Oh, we don't sing that kind of music anymore. Have you heard that crappy, it's on all the shorts, oh, gay. Use this sound, you'll get viewed. That's gay. It's gay. It's Gen Z gay. Millennial gay. I'm sorry. I'm rebelling this society. Remember Joe Clark? Lean on Me? Remember when they first showed him at the school and he was dressed bizarre and weird and looked like a throwback from the 60s? Well, that's me. I'm rebelling the society. I'm rebelling the suit and tie culture and the I'm doing well culture. I refuse. Why is it that women in the church, when I asked Mike how he's doing, he never answered me? Then stop asking the dumb question. If you're so smart, try to interpret why I'm not answering. How deep can you dig? I think most Americans run around buck naked in their underwear thinking they're smart by the dumb comments they leave on my channel. How are you today? I never answer. And maybe I should say, do you notice I never answer that question? You're insincere. No, I'm not going to do that. She's married. You don't want your husband getting pissy. But let me have the pulpit. I've been in that church over a year and I would nail him. I noticed when I came here, this has got to be one of the coldest places I've ever went. And I was told about Southern hospitality. I have not seen it here at all. Woman in this church tailgating my truck roars out of the parking lot. The guy that's on Sunday school never says hello or smiles at me because I'm not part of the clique. But he walks in here and teaches yesterday with a gun on his side. Really? Where's your faith, bro? You got the suit and tie on. You got all the hand gestures. You're playing the game up there. But you sit there like a wart on a log or a frog. And you got a sidearm. I just, to me, rubbed me so wrong. Oh, I'm supposed to feel, wow, Dudley Do-Right's here with his gun. If a shooter walks in, I'm safe. I'm not saying he did wrong. You could open carry in Georgia, but what are we saying? The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it, and they are safe. If you feel you need to protect yourself, then maybe you're not walking right. Maybe you're not trusting God. Maybe God wants you to go home. I know people that talk about their guns all day long. Christians. Dude, when you get to heaven, you're not going to own a firearm or a truck. In fact, that woman isn't even going to be your wife anymore. What are we doing? What are we doing down here? Da-da, 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 da-da. It's like Pink Panther with that crabby long-nosed weird dude. Always pissed at Pink Panther. So funny. And that's what we do with our life. Da-da, da-da, da-da. It is. It's like that. So I dress up. I wish it was San Moy's lipstick all over my body. She didn't even wear any makeup. She was cute. She was cute. I have struggled with my relationship with God because, and I've yelled at him right in his house. I said, do you really care about me? Life is so harsh. I'm a sensitive man. And yet, I know that he cares. He sustains me. He provides for my needs. And he's blessed me. But yes, even me, I question. I don't question his existence. I don't question a literal 24-hour period. I don't do that. He's got his word rooted in me. I'll defend it to every antagonist out there. But I mean, when Tina Turner sings, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What is love? I had more fun in Hong Kong sowing my oats than I ever do in the States. I miss my lovers, especially San Moy. Years have gone by. Is she still alive? Has she aged significantly? What's it like? I'll never know. I still have her number in one of my diaries. I don't do penny talk anymore, so I don't call overseas. Right or wrong, that may have given Moy all she needed to just continue slogging on in her crappy world. She probably washes dishes at the restaurant and remembers that glorious time when she and I were one in the universe. I had a online relationship with Quan Phone for 6 years. When I say online, we were Facebook friends. Big language barrier, Thailand. A lot of them don't know English. And then I learned I could type in English on the internet on my laptop, and it would translate it into Thai in scripted font, copy and paste, throw it in the chat box and Messenger on Facebook. Well, all this time you know Thai? I said, no, ma'am. I used a thing on the internet. She'd been doing it all along, and I didn't know she had it. And she would tell me, Quan Phone not beautiful, Michael. I said, I don't know why you believe my husband cheated and have an affair. No man loved me, Michael. No man. I said, shoot. I said, it's the weirdest damn thing. Beautiful women over there, unwanted. Beautiful women over here, we're all clamoring to get a date with them. And why? A waste of skin, high maintenance, moody, on again, off again, playing with our hearts. And you got beautiful women over there begging for somebody to love them. What a contrast. She works at Cargill, a chicken plant, brutal hours, low pay. Then come home and runs the damn grocery, the produce to sell. Every time I talk to her, she's working, doing laundry the old school way, puts it in a thing that spins it, wringing it, rinsing it, and hanging it up. Quan Phone's little place that she rented was absolutely cute. I could go to that. I could go simple. Because you know what? I could live in the middle of Death Valley with a love and a woman that excites me. You can live in a desert as long as you have an oasis. But Michael's like an ocean liner. The engines are running, the lights are on, the music's playing. The rust is starting to show up. The effects of sailing in salt is showing itself on me. The engines are still full power. And I sail the ship alone. I literally picture a helicopter view and pulling away, this big ship up close, and then it gets smaller, and you see this vast ocean. That's me. Most of the time, it feels like this. Taking a complete the bow is totally underwater on the Queen Mary. That's a real 1940s picture, folks, from an airplane. Smoke's pouring out of those funnels. That ship is alone in a battle with the elements. I feel like that every day. You have to shut your mouth. You have to not react. Can't show passion. Friday, I was so excited, got caught up on so much that we had to do that week, and I went like this. And supervisor's got to make a rude, shitty remark. That's American men for you, thinking they're the definition of cool. Going on and on about sports bullshit. Who cares? It's a freaking game and they get paid too much, bunch of damn crybabies. I could care less about sports if the whole industry failed. I don't care. Should I? Do they give a shite about me? No, they don't. They never will. Neither does Hollywood. Neither does anybody. This is America. Land of the trolls. Land of the put-downs. Land of cynics. Land of game players. Women hear my story on here and have the balls to play games. No conscience. No heart. And I'm not talking about all of you ladies that come on here. Not at all. And when I put in the chat about what was going on, every woman from Australia to the UK to Ireland to here said, Michael, that's a bad deal. That's a red flag. I know it is, but I wanted to know what they said. Thank you, ladies. I'm going to be honest. If my life is just going to be like this, I wish doctor would just tell me I got 6 months to live. Man, I'd be doing videos and dancing every day. Oh yeah, I'm out of here. I don't want to keep living like this. Work at a sweaty warehouse with insults and put downs. My house is never done. And then you got to worry about the termites eating stuff in the back room. Then you got to worry about the back room flooding. And then, it's just all the stuff. I want to own nothing and be happy. I want to be in heaven where I don't own it, but God allows me to enjoy it. No tax, no sweat, no put downs. Just that is heaven alone. To be in the presence of God. New heavens and new earth. You better believe I'm going to want to explore that. To be able to look at a lady and not lust and say, come on, let's follow this river and see where it goes. We got all eternity, girl. I don't know if you guys get this, but look at that picture. Look at that picture. Get a good look at that bow. It's completely submerged. Let's show this again. I love to talk about this. This is my heart. Look at this. You can't grasp this. I want you to see that right there is that same ship. This is over 60 feet. That thing's riding high because they've taken a lot of stuff out of the ship. That's 70 feet above the ocean from that bow right there. Do you get the picture? That's pretty significant ocean weather. I would love to be standing on the bridge, looking out those windows going, oh my gosh. Water just blasting to the bridge windows, glass that thick. Captain, are we going to die? It's the way my life feels every day. And I bring my channel to encourage. I'm going to do this, and I hope, ma'am, you'll forgive me. But I feel tears for you. Fallen angel. It's called heterochrome or something. She's got multicolored eyes. She told me the other day she has a tumor in her brain. She's always been nice in the chat. She lives in Australia. She sent me pictures of her beautiful land. Fallen angel, I prayed for you. Out of the sincerity of my heart, that hurts me. I said, is it gone? She said, no, it's deep in the brain. Her eyes hurt. Why is it that some of us suffer more than others? And the people that are biggest assholes in society never do. Sometimes some of those are Christians. I'm so tired of going to a church with fake people. I like my pastor, but our church is not bona fide. People are just canned. My chat has shown me community and passion and real life people that are struggling even worse than me. Fallen angel, I pray to God for you, that he puts his hand on you and heals you. Thank you for gracing my channel. You beautiful soul. Colette, I'm sorry that you've had the devil thrown at your face. Your mother died. You went through cyclone after cyclone. You fell. You got hurt. You had brain surgery. Just since December, you've been through hell. And these asshat trolls, I wish some big giant would just put their fist from their face through the back of their head and shut them up. The Bible says punch a fool in the nose. I don't believe in hitting people. But if somebody else did it, good show, mate. Good show. No worries. I'm human, and I refuse to be anything different. I will never wear a suit and tie. I will never say, I'm doing well. I refuse to submit to the masses of programmed people in church, out of church, at work. If you got a problem, dude, my supervisor, when I work my ass off for peanut pay, and all people can do is say, we couldn't do it without you. You show up at work in new vehicles. And we see what you're selling these items for. God in heaven, I have to submit to you. The workplace is not our friend. The church is not our friend. Even a lot of other Christians aren't our friends. So who cares if I wear women's clothes? Who gives a shit? Who cares? I stand before God, not the choir director, not my pastor, not my son, not my ex, not the trolls that are full of self-righteousness that are the biggest hypocrites on the online world. I don't hate the ice cream man. I've talked about him. I'm like, well, how does this guy get views? And sometimes I've watched him when I'm just being veg, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's so stupidly funny. But he's not malicious. You cannot say he's malicious. He's unique as hell. He's not harming anybody. You know, society, I just want to say something. You in America are part of the problem with some of the neurosis that all of us go through. I've actually entertained the idea of dating a man just to see what it would be like. I don't want a man. I could dress like this. I know there's men that would pay me and take me on the town. I could sit there in the restaurant and stretch. Other men would be looking, wow, look at that cute girl he's with. I could play woman all the way. Sometimes I wish I had a body cam and do an experimental video to just see what happens. Except I don't want all that other yucky stuff. A man can't give me what I need. I don't want that. But you can't get a woman. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Fallen Angel, Janola, Molly, Colette, Blondie, Lisa. Now I'm drawing a blank on the other one. Breezy Cover Girl. Even though I don't agree with you all the time, I love and appreciate you. Because the only way that we're going to bridge the divide in this world is if we got to care. And sometimes it seems like I don't have any love in my heart. And even though I've been damaged, I try not to hate. I hate evil. I will say that. I cannot stand the trolls. I hope when they go to the bathroom this morning, it feels like a saguaro cactus coming out of their butt. I think that'd be beautiful. I think that'd be poetic justice. The venom and the pew-pew you do online Every time you poop, I hope it feels like a cactus going through your intestines. I hope when you pee, it feels like broken shards of glass going through your urethra. I hope your headache pounds like the beating of a drum and it doesn't stop. I hope when you lay down in bed that bed bugs will infest you every night. You people suck that are full of hatred and hide in the shadows and don't show your face and WTF and all your hateful comments. You are the problem. May the fleas of 1,000 camels infest your crotch. That's not very Christ-like. You're right. But it is what I wish. I pray God gets revenge on them. I actually rejoice to see the day that he shows them the door. And he will. Just not in my time. And I thank God for people. Dr. Mantis, Bubba, and Russell, and Backcountry, and the guy from Sweden that I keep forgetting his name. We have community here, lots of people. We need to pray for Nate. He hasn't been in here because he's taking care of business and he's asked for prayer. Nate is struggling deeply with something. He's asked for prayer. It takes guts to do what I do. And all the crap I've been through finally brought me there. It takes guts for a grown man to do this. Why can't a man be sexy without being a fag? Why can't he? Society doesn't allow it, that's why. Why can't I be clean and smooth and smell good? I know women that love the fact I'm clean and smooth because they'll romance me the same way I romance them. I don't think anybody wants a hairy armpit in their face in the bed. If you do, you're gross. You're disgusting. And I like to be clean and smooth, and I like to feel good, and I like to feel, I envy women. I expect them to keep their underarms clean, so do I. Just feels good. I think it's gross to see guys out there with this, and they're out there running around and it just looks gay. And if you're going to be out there, guys, clean it up. Nobody wants to see your sweaty pits. I mean, it's like watching LeBron with the ovaries. Gross. I hate that. I don't like sports. Why do I want to watch a bunch of sweaty, hairy men come into bodily contact? You got to wonder if everybody that's into sports isn't gay. Sorry, just going to say it the way I need to. And the whole wrestling thing, grown men on top of each other. The hell? And they're all gross and sweaty and big and ugh. Gross. When I was in the Philippines and Hong Kong, the Filipinos love the song, "Lay Me Down on a Bed of Roses." I want to lay a girl down on a bed of roses. I remember Myra in Hong Kong. She had a short haircut. She looked like the older secretaries. She didn't look old, but the way the older secretaries had that office look back in the day, that was just beautiful. Myra was gorgeous. And when I made love with her, I lost myself. She was so sexy. She'd put her arms back and I would kiss and lick her arms. She smelled so good. And I would kiss and kiss. She goes, "Michael, I love that. Nobody's ever kissed my underarm." I said, "I haven't done it either, but you're so beautiful." And you're so smell good. I love to ravish you. People don't make love in this country. They have sex. I remember going to Green Brothers Oil Company. No, not Green Brothers, Showco. Down there on, what was it, 72nd? Brighton Boulevard. I take the trucks over there to put diesel fuel in them. There was a crusty, burnout, tanned out bar chick. Smoke lines all around her, smoking. She was a B word. She never was pleasant. She must have given somebody a BJ back in the day and got that position. Rude. Crusty, had that smoker's voice, had her cleavage showing. She wasn't pretty. She had that man's voice. What pump are you on? Wow. And every other lady that she trained would come in. They were very nice. They were just, there was a woman come in there. Hey, Mike, how are you? I said, I'm good. How are you? An old evil stink guy over there give me this dirty glare. I said, I'm going to the Philippines. Oh, burnout bar chick, washed up beach whale who tanned herself and looks like beef jerky with her crusty demeanor suddenly stares. Really? I said, yeah, I've been talking to a lady friend of mine online. I'm going to go see her. Oh, did I get the crusty, hateful stare? I want to say, honey, that woman is beautiful. And she's got naturally tanned skin. And you got all this jello that's all the way down to your chest. You got bunched up in your bra. I can tell by your cleavage that your tots don't have integrity anymore. And you got that rough smoker's voice. You're gross. And you think you're all that. I see so many women out there in Colorado like that. They think they're all that. Nothing feminine, nothing ladylike, and these asshats come on my channel. Why you dress like, why these women sound like men? Act like men? No heart, no soul. And guys will sit at the bar lusting after slobs like that. Yeah, I hope she hears me. I hope she stumbles onto my channel. You are nasty. And I was a customer. I made love to women far more beautiful than these crusty crabs in the USA, hands down. I'll never forget that. I was honest with those women. I'm not marrying you. I'm leaving. I came over after somebody didn't work. Myra told me that's okay. I'm willing to take that chance. I licked her and kissed her everywhere. The foreplay was awesome. I ravished her and traced the outline of her breasts, the areolas, and the nipple. Gosh, I miss that. I miss that. As a Christian, I'm supposed to be, I'm doing well and dressed for success. And we go to church and we walk like we're in the CCP. I'm done with it. Churches and people cloud the majesty of God. It's sad. People get in the way of an accurate view of who is God. Yes, we cannot live by our feelings, but God gave us feelings. And if we don't have heart, if we have not love, and there's one thing, and I read this because it's so true, the Baptist Church, it is a problem, universal. I saw it in Hong Kong at the Baptist Church. Revelation chapter 2, verse 1. To the angel of the church in Ephesus write, the one who holds the 7 stars in his right hand, the one who walks among the 7 golden lampstands says this, I know your deeds and your toil and perseverance, and that you cannot endure evil men, and that you put to the test those who call themselves apostles, and they are not, and you found them to be false. And you have perseverance and have endured for my name's sake and have not grown weary. But I have this against you, that you have left your first love. What's he saying? Baptists know all the right things. They'll expose the false teachers. They have no love. They don't always show it towards God, and they don't always show it to each other, especially when your name's Michael Nelson. When I stood up and had the guts to say I just got fired from a job I was falsely accused, if I'd have seen somebody say that at church, even if I didn't know him, I would have waited and said, I'm sorry to hear that. I will pray for you that you get work. Nobody did that. A week later, a woman who doesn't even regular attend, and she was beautiful. And I was like, oh, dang, she's married. She had a soft, feminine countenance. Her daughter is covered in tattoos, dyed her hair white, fake blonde. The kid's running around under the pews all during church. Doesn't bother me. He's not making noise. He's playing with his cars. And, kids, it's very hard to expect them to sit in service and, he's not being a jerk, but she's on her phone swiping the whole service. And you could tell by looking at her, she thinks she's a hottie. And her husband with a beard and balding is sitting there, and you can just tell by the look in his face. He's going through the motions of being a married papa, and you can just tell he's miserable. But the mother, she said, I'm sorry what you're going through. I heard your story. I said, ma'am, I gave my all to that place. Michael, I live here. I know what goes on in Richmond County. I'm not unaware. She was sitting in church one day, and I thought she was single. My gosh, I'd date her. She's a little bit right around my age, and she's pretty, she's petite, soft-spoken, nothing like her daughter. And then I see her come in with the husband. I'm like, crap. It's the way it always is. The good ones are taken. The ones that are left that are cute play games with your heart. And they have no conscience about it. They don't care that they hurt. They're selfish. They're narcissists. They want their gas tank filled and on they go down the road. Just one thing I have against you, that you left your first love. You go to a Baptist church. It's not warm in there. Never is. And it makes it hard to face this kind of a world day in and day out. Go to work, made to feel bad. And then you throw in that beautiful southern hot-ass weather. Boy, is that hard to deal with. And people want to wear suits and ties at church. Yeah, walk across that parking lot with all that clothing on. I'd be soaking wet in 60 seconds. When I was in Hong Kong, that's hot. And to watch these businessmen come out of those office towers and walk, and their sweat rings down their sport jacket, the tux. They all wear this. Why? And they're against going to shorts and wearing casual wear. I mean, I don't care. Suits and ties are rigid. They're uptight. It's all about outward packaging. I remember years ago, I'd never heard this song before, and my friend who was not saved started singing, "In heaven we drink no beer. That's why we drink it here." And I just lost it. I said, "What's wrong with you? You haven't heard that song?" No. I'm not in heaven. And though we strive for excellence, what does that look like for me? Your love was broken, y'all alone, heartbroken. I love that song. We are the warriors of love to keep you going when times are tough. You don't get that in the church. I had to live in sin to get it. Girls cared about me in Hong Kong. They wanted to see me off on my flight. And one of the songs with Mouse, I had that song, Warriors of Love. I swear, we're so dead over here. For a grown man to be like me is not okay in this macho, whatever society of men. But I know no other way. I can't be like them. I don't want to be like them. I believe that 99% of the men in this country are insecure and full of crap. That's why they act that way. They troll and be rude and be cutting. They see somebody like me go like this and they go, the hell is wrong with that? No, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Hide behind your gun and your beard with all the food and BO shoved in it. Women want to date all these hairy, sweaty, gross pigs. Hey, knock yourself out. People bragging about being on the back of a motorcycle with sweaty, hairy armpit men with a beard all the way down to their knees. Gross. What do they see in that? Oh, that's a real man. Oh, he can ride a motorcycle. Guess what? I can ride one too. Woo, woo, woo. I had one when I was in school. Bikes aren't for me. People drive stupid. I don't want to be on two wheels. I'm glad I can be me on my channel. It's been an uphill battle. Absolutely. So where do we go from here? It's 2026. People don't care. Churches don't care. Work doesn't care. Cling to God. I fail to tap into the resource. I complain about the dirty water, and I've got a well of water that wells up to eternal life. I wish I could just jump my whole body in that well and swim in it. I thank you for taking time to listen. How do you get through the hard stuff? Yes, God doesn't like our sin. No matter how much we like it, He doesn't like it. No matter how much I look back and genuflect on stuff that I liked, I thank God that He loves me and He forgives me and doesn't treat me as my sins deserve. But He's not amused by our foolishness. But He also understands. I want to get closer to God. But will I ever be like John, the disciple whom Jesus loved? It doesn't mean He loves us any less, but we all have closer or more distant relationships. Unfortunately, we're products of our upbringing, often, even as a Christian. The idea of loving the man Jesus seems gay to me. Now, I'm not going to go up and give Jesus a hug. And John's leaning against his bosom. right away I think of that's kind of gay. But John wasn't gay. David and Jonathan were deeply in love with each other as friends, and gay people try to say, oh, they had a gay relationship. Put your sword in your pants, boys. Just because you're gay doesn't mean everybody else is too. It's hard as a man. A lot of the music in the church was geared around superficial, artificial intelligence women. Gay music where women put their hands in the air. This is kid stuff. And they didn't like the old hymns because they were too deep. They can't understand the words because our society's dumbed down. Nobody wants to sing anymore. A mighty fortress is our God, a bulwark never failing. Though our ancient foe doth seek to work us woe, his craft and power are great and armed with cruel hate. He's got all his battalions of trolls. He's installed them in church and installed them at work and installed them in every car. Every day you go out your door, welcome to Satan. We long to go to a better place. If you are truly saved, fallen angel, I'm glad I met you through the video channel. You know God loves you, and he cares about you deeply. And I pray that he'd rebuke that cancer, that tumor right out of your brain and get it out of there. I always told her in the room that I look in that eye and I get tender. The eyelashes, the humanity of it all. She's never come into the chat room grandstanding about anything. She just joined in. If I had a tumor in my brain, I'd be a little bit concerned. Woke up at midnight 30, went to bed early. My best thinking is at the early hours when all the clowns and all the idiots and that people that play that crappy stuff they call music and shake the neighborhood, they'll be in bed all day long. I remember when I left the Philippines in 2018, pouring rain. I said goodbye to Gloria and I sat in the airport for quite a while. Flight was being delayed. Finally got on the plane. The rain was coming down in buckets. We finally taxied down the runway and take off, and as the plane's doing its banks and turns and whatever it does, I'm looking at the lights of Manila. And the plane banks real hard. The wings dip down to the left, and I look down over that wing and I look at Manila. Wow, God, I got to stand here and live to tell about it. And the plane does a hard turn. You see lights, the light starts to diminish. Suddenly you see blackness and you're out over the Pacific Ocean. And you sit in your seat and you go, wow, back to my stupid world. And the white noise of the airplane cruising at 36,000 feet. And you look down in the dark and it's still dark. It's sad that we get more passion when we're sinning, because our society is not only broken, it's so damaged. You hear about the holidays and people say, I'm not going with the family this holiday. It's too toxic. When you used to stand and wave goodbye to the relatives and you were sad that they left, now you can't wait for them to go away. And we're cynics. When people used to get on passenger liners and thousands of people would crowd the docks to wave goodbye to their loved ones and watch this big, massive ship. Now it's impersonal. You whisked around on airplanes. I reflect back on my escapades often. I want to believe that there's a woman that I can love and we're so excited about being in each other's presence. Women tell me, oh, the right one will come along. I'll be in my grave and somebody will still say that. I love ships' foghorns, the old ones. Now I just want to hear one horn, the trumpet. I mean, the nanosecond I hear that. Can you imagine? I'm on this channel and it just continues to play. Why has this channel got an eyeball? Where is everybody? Where's Mike? He's not here anymore, folks. Did you hear that? I don't think the world's going to hear that trumpet at all. It's going to be a silent event for the world. To us, it's going to be music to our ears. I mean, I want to pull out a saxophone when I get to the other side and just boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, boom, boom. I'm in heaven and I'm the fat cat now. Why not? It's hard to get excited about church with a bunch of milk duds in there. Overweight couples growling and snarling at each other and making rude comments to me. People that don't get out of their comfort zone and say hi. Yeah, what a great place to go. It's like going into a room where there's the smell of sour milk and food stains all over the floor. Who wants to sit in there? And that's what people become. Sorry. Michael always talks about everybody. Yep, and you always talk about me, troll. So what's the difference? At least I peg it right. I need to talk about it because I'm not the only one experiencing this crap. Many of you are. What's a cute woman like this living in Australia got a tumor. What's she doing on my stream? Same reason we're all here. We're looking for community. We're looking for answers. We're looking for connection. Most of us can't get it in our respective environs. The internet it's like going to Vegas. All the lights and the bedazzle. You can look at naked women. You could talk to people around the globe. You can look at cars. You can research this. You can buy this. But yet, how are we treating people in real life or on the internet? This tells me we're going to be judged for that. Every idle word, that means me. When I thought it was funny to make sport of somebody I didn't like, yeah, God's going to say, Michael, yeah, God, yeah. We're all going to give an account. I love that song, Arash, by Arash. I'm so lonely, broken angel. I'm so lonely, listen to my heart. Man's not allowed to be like that. We're supposed to be like ZZ Top. She got legs. She know how to use them. No thanks. Hard bar chicks. Oh, aren't they beautiful? Aren't they beautiful? That woman at Shoko was nasty to me. Never did anything. I notice hardened women don't like innocent looking guys that still have a youthfulness and reflect God. They're crusty and they're miserable. Even Satan doesn't want the light turned on in his dark face. Wherever you go, you're bringing light, Christian. And you're going to have hatred just simply because your presence shows up. Never forget that. Meanwhile, I choose to refuse to follow this. Stupid. I never watched the movie. Didn't want to. I'll be back. I have to get some snacks. Unfortunately, I have to eat to survive. One of the greatest problems in American society that I've seen all my life is the need for everybody to feel that they have to conform to somebody. And I was shocked when our worship leader said yesterday And he handed his son a 25-pound weight as he stood up there by the altar. And he said, we carry the weight of other people's expectations of us. That's cheesy. Why do we live for the approval of others? They're not God. Why do we do that? I know for a fact there's a lot of people that say I'm doing well and are superficial and plastic because it's safe. It's non-committal. I find that most Christians in a Baptist church are disingenuous. They're saved. They know this inside and out. Their heart doesn't pound for passion for God. It's become rote. But I've gone to churches that were more friendly, and they believed a lot of hoo-ha. Like I said, the verdict for me, for America, is we're a pendulum swing. You want sound doctrine? Go to the Baptist church. You want love and acceptance? Go to the churches that aren't preaching sound doctrine. Why can't we have a church that preaches the truth and has emotion and heart and soul? Why is that so hard to find in this country? We got big box Walmart churches. We got Stephen Furtick, another heretic with elevation, naming churches new things to get rid of the stigma of Baptist. And they're just flaky. And they're rich. And the preachers are millionaires. How do we get a passion for God in a passionless society? America's almost like a landfill. We all talking about the societal damage it's done to all of us, women about the men, and men about the women, and parents, and this and that. And we're a landfill of classics that look good on the outside, but, well, they misfire and they don't run and the transmission doesn't engage. Yeah. It's like this. It's like we were children. I love to use this. It's my favorite thing to use. This is life. That's what most women and men are like in our culture. I'm doing well. Yeah, it's about as sincere as sea monkeys. They never looked like that. When we were kids, that picture fooled the hell out of me. I thought, sea monkeys? I didn't know there was anything that looked like that. And they're smiling? Who wouldn't want a tank full of those in your room? And they're sitting there going, and they were brine shrimp that didn't look anything like that. And they ended up dying. That was the biggest scam of children ever. Back in the so-called good old days. Corporate America was working it back then. Screwing children out of their money. I looked at the choir yesterday. I'm going to say it, and it's not going to be nice. I have been judged all my life by everybody. That gives me the right to criticize accurately. And I looked at everybody in the choir There's a beautiful teen girl who's become an adult. Beautiful long hair. None of those people, when I look at them, have the joy of God on their face. They look rigid, frozen, chosen. You got Mrs. Blandface, rude. And she catches my attention because you can just tell. And more she's doing the special music, and you can tell when she gets up there, she thinks she's a TikTok diva. I don't even look at her. I'm not interested in these teen girls and their narcissism. You don't say, excuse me, when you walk between me and another person. You don't say, good morning, Mr. Nelson. What are we learning in this church? The choir director's children never even spoke. Last week, the first time, the one that just graduated spoke to me and said, well, it's not as big as yours, but I finally got a chain. Why are churches in America so unfriendly? But let's go beyond that. There are a few people. Hi, Mike. How are you today? That's the same. It's stupid. Do you want to know how I'm doing? Or do we just say that? Now, I'm not going to go up to a choir director's wife and say, you know what? I had a hard time this week. The next time she asks, I should say that. You know, honey, I'm struggling. How are you? I'm doing well. I'm sure you are. Your husband makes good money? Your kids are in an age where, you can enjoy life now. They're pretty portable and can take care of themselves. Sometimes that triggers me. I do not like when people say all the time, I'm doing well. There was a black woman in Denver schools. Every time you asked her how she's doing, she cheated on her husband. She did this. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Does anybody answer genuine anymore? One of my favorite experiences was northern Minnesota. This is going to be vulgar, but it needs to be stated. Man, I don't know why the sea monkey and my curtain are going in and out. Let's get rid of this. I think you get the point. Now let's do this. I've been through hell. January of 2020, I closed on my house. And I walked up and that's what it looked like, except it was raining. I didn't take that picture. That was the real estate ad picture. But it was raining and there was much more leaves and trash in the driveway. I have that lattice in the back room. I'm going to cut pieces off it and mount it over the face of the sub-ceiling I built over the tub to put some decorative trim. You can't see it, but there's a little, well, actually you can. You see that little thing by the cinder blocks? That's now the tree in my backyard by the yucca. I opened the door. That was the front door. The house stunk. And I walked in and said, well, I bought me a house. I got a lot of work to do. And I worked hard that day. First thing I did was go to turn on the furnace, no heat. It was Friday. I called a local vendor, the real estate guy. He came over right away. Thank God for that. Fooled with the furnace, he said, it's like it's not getting gas. Everything's switching on. We called Atlanta Gas. Within 10 minutes, a guy showed up and replaced the meter. Turned it on. The furnace fired up. I said, oh God, thank you. I had heat. By myself. Sometimes I want to cry. Sometimes I want to give up. Not suicide. Some women got it made. They got a man to make big money. I wish somebody took care of my butt. God is. But I wish there was a rich, cash cow woman in New York. Michael, I would love you. I'm filthy rich. Sugar mama. That's not who I am. If I don't love you, I don't care how much money you got. I ain't taking a bait. I know God is in my life because I couldn't do what I do if he wasn't. COVID hit, this hit, before I got saved. I was in high school. I had broke the school record. I had my Letterman's jacket. I had girlfriends. I stood outside my room in Arizona one night and I wanted to commit suicide. I don't know what was going on inside of me, but I just wanted to end my life. I know what it is now. The devil. And the only thing I can say is just think if I wasn't here, oh, my internet trolls would go, good riddance. But no. No. I wouldn't have met her. I wouldn't have met Colette or Paul or Dr. Mantis living on an island in Lake Huron. All the men and women with their stories, their backgrounds. God isn't done with Michael Nelson. The world is. But I don't need the world. I need Jesus. I need God, and I need his provision. I need his love. I don't need this world. I got to own a deuce. I got to drive and feel that pride driving that big old metal tank of a truck. But it's expensive. I got to own a house. It's too big for just me. And we're living in a day and age. You think I could open my home and have people? No. You can't bring anybody in here. Even a pretty girl could kick holes in the walls, not pay her rent, smoke pot, and get revenge on me because I was nice enough to open up my home. Hell no, you don't bring everybody in here. Women are freaking nuts today. Right here. I can't live with 90% of them. They got to have their cigarette, got to have their pot, got to eat 10 tons of food and be this big and weigh 10 tons. Man, women complain about us, and they got to have all this stuff going on. And I'm with the preacher yesterday. I want less weight in my life. If I could sell this house and buy a 2-bedroom, completed, solid, rock solid, cozy home somewhere, baby, bring it. A guest bedroom for somebody visiting. And I'm not hitting on this one. And Og, I was flirting with her. She's cute. Most of the women on my channel are beautiful. They could come and visit me. They could sleep on this futon in my room or in another room. I wouldn't put my hands on them unless they wanted me to. As I get older, I want relationship. But relationships out there are scary. There's not one person in my workplace that I ever would consider a friend. Ever. Nor they me. Not the owners. Even one of the owners has made digs. I don't do well with people who don't accept my energy and just me. and you got to make comments that are disparaging. That hurts. Part of me wants to say, you think I want to come to work and serve you guys every day in this hot weather and what you're paying me and the amount of energy I put into this, and you almost seem like you don't appreciate it when you make a comment? I couldn't deal with two of you. I can't deal with one of you or you or you or you or you. When I walk into your office and you can't even turn your, hi, Mike. Heart and soul. La da 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 da. You see, that piece of music spoke to me long ago at Grandma's house. They had an old upright piano. And my older sister, who I never bonded with, and somebody else, another woman, I can't remember who, sat on the piano bench side by side. And one went dun 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 dun. And my sister went ping, 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 ding, ding, ding. As a kid, I never heard it before. My thick red hair, my thick glasses, people were annoyed with me. Not my mother, not my father, not anybody else spoke to me. What is that? I like that. I still love that piece of music. And I went from Pacific Ocean Asia to Ocean Heart. By those that know me from years ago, I will always be Pacific. But Ocean Heart puts the heart into the ocean. It had nothing to do with the Titanic. It had to do with my heart is out at sea. The ocean signifies a barrier between me and beautiful ladies and islands and mangoes and coconuts and sea breezes. But even now I read or watch things online about what's going on islands. Women having sex with animals on Pitcairn. What the hell? Island to me is idyllic. It's a tiny bit of paradise in a fallen world. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. When I met a British lady walking one day on Llama Island and she told me what goes on Llama, I was like, oh yes, Michael, things get a little weird around here certain times of the year. I said, wow. The rise in Satanism, the rise in tarot card readers all over YouTube, the rise in demonic dark stuff. When I was living in Virginia, Minnesota, small, boring ass mining town, and my wife came home with the deer in the headlight look, I said, what? She goes, the women at work were talking about switching. I said, switching. They go to the bars and everybody throws their keys in a pile. And people reach for the keys, and whoever's keys they get that husband or that wife. I said, oh, that sounds cozy and fun. Legalized affairs with each other. Even me, I've been affected by it. It's really sad. Years ago, I did something, not proud of it. Somebody on a date site, hookups. My girlfriend wants to do me and another man. Showed the chest, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's pretty. My email had Mikeru in it back then. The guy responded right away. He said, I responded. Thank you for your picture. When I saw you had Japanese in the name, I knew that you had been to Asia. My girlfriend is Filipina. I said, oh, ho, ho. I met him at Starbucks. He was a stockbroker. She was the manager at Walmart in Lakewood. She wanted to try two men. Only one problem. She was gorgeous. And I watched him. I mean, do her jackhammer style. Me, I was more sensual. He watched me and he said, and I didn't do anything with him. He watched me and he said, you are very much more passionate than I am. She actually preferred the cowboy style. And I loved it, but I left there depressed. Because when you have sex with somebody, you bond. You say whatever you want. There is no such thing as friends with benefits and one night stand. Know ye not that you become one flesh. Now, wow, she's so pretty and I can't have her as my girlfriend. We met up one more time. He said she wants to do a woman. Would you be willing to watch? And I said, oh yeah. That didn't materialize. He texted me and kept in touch. He said, the women out here, I said, no, they don't want the men involved. So I, as a Christian, both those two claim to be Christians. I asked him, I said, how do you get around this in your conscience? And he said, Mike, none of us is perfect. But I'm going to say something. It's not right for us to do that. I did it. And what's really a hoot is when I went to Walmart and I'd run into her. Managerial. Mike, how are you? Nobody in that store knows what was going on. A lot of people don't know the depth of what I've been through. They look at me and think I'm a moron. This guy was a successful, wealthy stockbroker. I have tried to fill a hole in my life because you can't get a healthy relationship with a woman today. You got to do bizarre stuff like that. Jenny shows up at church the second time and she seemed interested, but then wants to text for 3 hours. And I said, before we got going, I said, Lord, if this is not of you, end this. He did. She started with the money. I believe a Christian man that honors God is to be wealthy. Sounds like you're a gold digger, honey cheeks. You got nice legs, but did the Filipina and the white guy love each other? There's something raw and exciting now about that. Did you know that? There are couples. I met a beautiful redhead at Colorado International School. She was something to do with the secretary at the school. She was a gorgeous redhead, and she told me I was hired for the summer to drive their bus, that old international school bus, 20 miles an hour up the Rocky Mountains. Man, was that a slow boat to China. I had to pull over constantly and let cars go around that thing. Go up Trail Ridge Road in Estes Park. But I love the trips. It was beautiful up there. And we needed to get the bus repaired, so I drove it. She followed me. I rode back. My husband and I are in an open marriage. I said, what is that? I played interviewer. If he wants to have sex with somebody, he just needs to tell me about it. I said, so have you guys ever done it? She goes, no. And I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at her going, my gosh, I'd like to try her. She is a hot redhead. If she'd have told me, man, I'll tell my husband I wouldn't mind getting together, I would have done it right now. She was a 10 as a redhead girl. I kept it appropriate. Didn't do anything. We didn't go there. She didn't show that, leaning that way. But I started asking myself questions. What has happened to us that normal isn't normal anymore, that we got to spice things up? I'll be honest. If I had a woman and I was in love with her and she wanted to play with a girlfriend, I think that'd be hot. And I would let her. Is that right by this? Nope. And I'll tell you why a lot of things are happening in our culture that are not right. I want to tell you why sin is so appealing, because when you go to church and you can talk all you want about feelings and this and that and say, Baptists are known for not having feeling, not having heart, not having passion, and they can be so damn rigid, and they can use the scripture to justify it. We also need to remember God gave us feelings. And if you have rigidity without feeling, guess what's going to happen when trouble comes in your life? If the Golden Gate Bridge doesn't flex, those steel suspension cables, all that's just going to go bam. It has to have some give. When you go to church and everybody's so unfriendly, cold, and loving, something's got to give. You go to work and you're not appreciated. Where do I go? Well, Mike, you're supposed to crucify the flesh. So let's crucify it with a bunch of miserable people that don't even say good morning to me on Sunday. Why do you think I ran into sin? Why do you think I tried a Filipina who was dating a guy? Hey, at least there's some excitement here. The church in America is causing people to run out the other direction, back into the arms of sin. There's a woman that goes there. She's pretty. She's actually pretty. She's young. She got a couple kids. She's married. She came in one day, had a soft bra. Her nipples were quite nipply. And I was like, oh my, those are nice. She is the only one that says, good morning. She doesn't look like the other women in there. She doesn't act like the other women in there. I'm like, too bad she's married and got kids. I would ask her out. She's as down to earth as she comes. Her husband doesn't go to church. He doesn't want to go to church. He works for the railroad and makes good money. So she's taken care of. She goes to church. She's faithful to show up. I'm like, isn't that sad? She's a pretty woman. The other women that are there, that are married and their husbands don't come, they're poochy. Their styles of clothing is not my cup of tea. You can tell they had a rebellious streak once. They got all them tats. And there's triggers everywhere. There's a lady that laughs at flaky, superficial crap. I'm like, why is that funny? It's not even funny. There's nothing funny about it. I just watch. I don't talk there unless they speak to me. We got a guy we call Colonel Sanders. He's a short guy and he is weird. He worked at the nuclear power plant. He's incredibly smart. He's not a handsome guy. First couple times I met him, I thought, this guy is a trip. And he'll yell in the church. The preacher will be preaching, or the choir will be singing, "Ah!" What the heck? Has that guy got turrets back there? And the worship leader said one day, some of you all may be thinking, but people just express. That's right. He's shouting back there. Why do churches attract a lot of weirdos? And I'm one too. I admit it. And then there's a 60-year-old lady with the cane who sat next to me. Their world is so small. I noticed you're sitting up one closer. I said, yeah, they put their Bibles and books in these other pews, so somebody's marked it and they're sitting there. Oh, okay. How are you? I'm good. I'm polite, but I limit my conversation with her. Because she's one, if you start to say anything, she'll just talk over you and steamroll. Can't notice pretty women because that's lusting. It's weird. It's just weird. And then you look at the faces in the choir, and I don't see joy. I don't. The choir sings good, but I struggle. It almost reminds me of Mammoth, California. The church is a small picture of Mammoth. Choir director and his wife are the biggest family in there. One son plays the keyboard, one works up in sound, one does this. And of course, it's going to be all about them. I'm not part of any of that. The Bible says in Corinthians something fascinating. You know why I dress feminine? It's erotic to me. I don't think I'm ugly. I don't care what anybody else out there thinks. I look in the mirror and I think I've done well for my age. I'm happy with my body. And I wasn't always. I felt self-conscious all my life. I like to be erotic. I wish I could do erotic photography with another woman naked. I wish we could pose. I wish we could try different poses that are erotic and thought-provoking. I wish I could go to a job where I could dress like this and get paid good money. I'm 60. I'm sick and tired of making people rich that are tight with the money on their employees, but not with themselves. And I try to have a good attitude before God. I like the president of the company. I have no ill will towards him. He gave me a chance and hired me, so I always feel he gave me a chance here in a culture that, he didn't know me. I told him why I got fired from the transportation. He said, that ain't right. You got free speech. I said, no, not according to them. Now you got people in transportation saying, we want Mike back. It's not the same. What if God did a movement? What if the black people said, Hey, this is bullcrap. We don't always agree with Mike, but he's not racist. And he got fired. He was a good employee and he got done around here. Wouldn't that be funny? Then I'm getting a call to come back. Wouldn't that be? Do you want to go back? Not really. I want to go forward. If I can't have somebody to enjoy my house with me with, then I want to get out of here. It's not time until God says. Too hot down here in the summer, way too damn hot. It bothered me when Tina left. We had talked about she'd work 5 more years, get her teacher retirement. I said, why don't we go halvesies on a house? We could buy a nice place. Let's go to West Virginia. Let's buy a place. I can go get a job in any school. Then she started seeing somebody on the weekends. Then her mother up and pulled that and bought a house and all that. I would have bought a house with her. Neither one of us would have screwed each other. We weren't involved romantically. And guess what? It's been over a year since she's moved out and I've survived. I had to sell my truck. I survived. I lost my job wrongfully, and I've survived. And at the end of the day, my life ain't perfect, but God has enabled me to stand, and He's taking care of me. And E-Rock's been coming back into chat. That's awesome. Hi, Eric. It's good to see you in chat again. I like it when 2 ladies who had an issue with my stance on things still come into my chat. Thank you. I'm not some mean person. I'm not your traditional American. I'm Michael. I'm eccentric. I speak the truth. I like being feminine sometimes. I'm not going to sew my hot dog into a taco. I don't want a taco. I'm allergic to corn tortilla tacos. I'm being facetious, but you get my point. I like lady tacos. I don't like tacos. How's that? But I don't want a taco on me. Well, I want it on me, but I don't want it attached to my body in place of the hot dog. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this world is really screwy right now. President Trump had UFC fights at the White House. Okay, why? Are we paying for this? All these assassination attempts. And just as an aside, notice not one conservative, not one right-winger extremist who they call us racist and entitled and privileged tried to take Biden or Obama's life. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, Democrats. We're not the danger. You can tell by what I do, I'm a lover. Man, I kissed my own self to blot the lipstick. God's allowed me to do things that some of them were not right or pleasing to Him. Ladies, please pray for her. She hasn't complained. She's been coming to chat. She's been a trooper. The strength of some women baffles me. God's given some women incredible abilities that we don't have. And I'm glad I can talk about women and men and blacks and whites and conservatives and Democrats and God and the devil and everything on here, because you know what? We need to. I'm not a content creator. I don't create it. God's the only one that creates, folks, not us. I'm a mouthpiece. May I be used by him in spite of myself. The choir director preached a good word yesterday. Changed my mind. I said, if the pastor died and he's in charge, I'm out. No, if he's singing the word, you keep your butt there. We all need to go to church. The Bible says that. A couple ladies said, I'm happy now that you're here, and I appreciate that, ladies, but do not use me as a substitute for church. I'm not a pastor. I never will accept that. I don't even call this channel my ministry, because I'm tired of people saying my ministry. Wrong terms. God's work. God's work. You know what motivates me to be here? I love to talk. And many of you like that. But if you lived with me, you might not like it. You don't listen to me. You just like to talk. I have been accused of that. I do listen to people, just not very many. I make observations, and when I see enough, I walk into the back room, open that little metal door, and I hit these circuits and go, off, 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 done listening to that one. And I've done it in relationships. Once I see it's hit a point of no return, I shut the breakers off. My mind is mentally done. If I'm into a woman and I value her, I'm going to listen to her. But I also, in all fairness, realize I do have dysfunctions. Maybe I couldn't be married. At the end of the day, I got to put on one shoe, then the other, and take one step at a time, go to work, do what you're supposed to do. And maybe perchance God will interrupt, as I like to say, punctuate the equilibrium, disturb the routine. I would appreciate your prayers, because sometimes it gets hard to slug through life. Sometimes we get weary. The Bible said in the sermon he spoke yesterday, said, let us not become weary. We do become weary. But he said, even if you can't run, walk, move forward. And I hate to bring Devo into this, but when a problem comes along, you must whip it. Sometimes you just have to say, God, I can't whip this. I need you. There's a line from a song. Myra had it as a ringtone on her phone. An American song. It's a ringtone on her phone. It's 1:15. I'm all alone and I need you now. I played that song going through Montana, coming back from Hong Kong, and I kept thinking of Myra. When I'm all alone, I don't have a girl to reach over and hug no more, or to lick and kiss and trace the outline of her breasts and areolas and nipples and touch her cheeks. That's gone. I have to cry out to God. And I think that every man who hasn't had that experience and rushes into marriage has done himself a disservice. I think that a man should only spend time in the wilderness first, of his own wilderness and his own aloneness before he gets married. Because God is showing me it's not good for me to be alone. These dinglings that want to play games online. It's 2026, ladies. Can we grow up and stop that? Do what you say, mean what you say. One thing leads to another. Stop playing with the Queen of Hearts, knowing it ain't really smart. Joker is the only fool that'll do anything for you. Stop it. If you like somebody, then go after them. If you just want your attention gas tank filled, go to the Word. Go to the Word. Go to God. Stop using people to play your sicko little narcissist game. I need to put on women the same thing God puts in me. You will seek me. You will find me when you seek me with your whole heart. When a woman who's beautiful really comes after me. Boaz. Now there's an interesting story. Boaz is a fascinating thing. Boaz was a kinsman redeemer. All right, where is the book? I thought it was. Is it after Judges? Ruth is pigeonholed in a weird place. The book of Ruth. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, shall I not seek security for you, that it may be well with you? And now is not Boaz our kinsman, with whose maids you were? Behold, he winnows barley at the threshing floor tonight." When Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain, and she came in secretly and uncovered his feet and laid down. Ruth went after him. She fell asleep at his footstool. You got all these women getting on a date site with a dang attitude. I want a man that this and that. How many women will come and show up? Not to wreck my life, not to take advantage, but will lay at my feet and say, I want you. Why is it everybody uses people for their stupidity, their vain sorriness? You're beautiful. You don't need attention from me. Go get it from all the other simps. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. That was wrong. But I ain't going to blast you. I'm just going to say it here. Bye-bye. I'm not on a playground anymore. I don't go down the slide. You want me? Then prove it. Till then, leave me alone. That goes for any other woman out there. I've spent $20,000 in 4 years pursuing a waste of time in hunger. I will not do it again. I'm not flying out to see any of you all. You want me? You come after me. Prove it. If you're looking for a life preserver or to get you out of your big old mess, You want me for me? Do we pursue God that way? No, we don't. We treat God the way we treat relationships. Oh, God, I need a job. Oh, God, I need you to help me pay this bill. Oh, God. Mike, I got a migraine. Mike, I hurt. And then 4 days go by when you send a text and no answer, no answer, no answer, no answer. Women, grow up. Grow up. I don't think I'm God's gift to women, but I'll tell you what. I don't believe I'm second rate either. I'm tired of all this crap. There is no way that I can discuss what I'm discussing here in my church. I've had a couple private conversations with my pastor, and his wife is an interesting woman. I actually like his wife because she sees things. So does pastor. And though the choir director had a good sermon, I would not want to live in his house. He wouldn't go for me, and I wouldn't go for him. Because I am truly busted out of the mold. I get more criticism for this. Anybody ever seen Mowgli? Ever seen Mowgli, what he's wearing a jungle? Nobody said he dressed like a chick. I just think it's ridiculous. People get so hung up. The same people criticizing my clothing will not criticize the ones wearing the right clothing that are screwing the pooch. On Capitol Hill, in the workplace, all that. Women are no longer geared mentally to be a man's helpmate. They're roto-rooters. They will clean out your bank account, clean out your emotions, clean out your energy without a conscience or a care. Not all women are like this, but a lot are. We have to be careful. And as I get older, and the gulf of the last time I dated somebody was in 2018. I've had a couple girls be silly over here, but it never went into anything. One came in here, black woman, she came in here and she's sitting on the toilet, left the door. I said, girl, shut the door. She come out and pull her shirt up. She had some nice ones. I said, what are you doing? Don't you like them? I said, yeah. Tiffany, I like you. And there were two Tiffany's here that had an interest, both black. You got 4 kids. And I'm not playing baby daddy. Who said you got to do that? I said, honey, if I take you on, that real estate goes with it. Your kids were over here one day and they couldn't get along for 5 minutes. I wouldn't have those kids in this house. They would have torn up this place in 5 minutes. Scratched the woodwork, banged doors, tore up things. This is not a kid's house. Somebody buys it for a fair price and they want to tear it up, at least I got my money and I'm out. But I'm not going to take that when I'm living here. Boy, I look back when I was a kid, Bishop, California, Tri-County Fair. They'd have the demolition derby and we thought that was cool. If I could go back in time, I'd stand down there and say, no, that's a Dodge Charger. That's a classic. Don't tear it up. They took those cars and rear-ended each other. Nobody knew at that time those cars would be highly sought after. We kept thinking life would go on just as it is. And that's why I had men give me back massages. That's why I went to Asia. There's an emptiness. Even now, if a nice, polite, non-creepy man wanted to give me a full rub down on a massage table, I don't care. I want attention. Not like these girls do. I got sore muscles. I want somebody to rub me down. No, I don't want some guy rubbing his thing and jerking all over me. That's gross. We live in a jacked up world. And I'm man enough to admit my flaws, my sins, right here. And the pastor was going on about sexual purity and all this. And I'm like, well, I passed that milestone a long time ago, dude. I was not sexually pure as a Christian. I've had my shenanigans, as the Irish would say. I thank God that He gives me the strength to face the day. Give us this day our daily bread. That's it. We got to stop worrying about the big old future just one day at a time. I'm sure that this young lady's doing that very thing. I'm sorry, I look into that eye and I want to cry. Those delicate eyelashes. I'm sorry. Bible says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Do we look at each other and see that? Are we so cynical and jaded that we're nasty? Remember all those people you're being mean to? They were a little innocent baby that needed help once. Why are we doing this? People are ugly today. I never thought, out of all the people that chat, I'm not hitting on her. She is cute. But this woman with that eye, that was her picture. And I joke, I said, I feel like that eye's watching me. And I looked, I'm like, look at the color of that. She's beautiful, but her life is marred with hidden danger deep within her brain. That bothers me. It's like, God, remove that from her. But guess what? She's in the right place. She's in this chat where we do try to talk about God. That's a good thing. Because if she's a Christian and she's a child of God, when she gets in heaven, that tumor will be gone. I want to say something about these dadgum trolls. When Miss Narcissist was singing, because I don't clap for the stuff at church. I don't have to. I'm there to worship. You know, Nehemiah was called by God to rebuild the wall. Jerusalem was in ruins. Nehemiah was the cupbearer for a pagan king. And he got permission from the king. And if you go to the beginning, Nehemiah inspects Jerusalem's walls and Nehemiah told the men, then let us arise and build. So they put their hands to the good work. But when Troll 1, 2, and 3 showed up, when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite wait a minute. When Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite official and Geshem the Arab, just those names sound like they're problem children. They mocked us and despised us, said, "What is this thing you are doing? Are you rebelling against the king?" So I answered them and said to them, "The God of heaven will give us success. Therefore, we as his servants will rise and build, but you have no portion, right, or memorial in Jerusalem." And they instigated trouble. like the ones do on mine. And then you get to chapter 6. The wall building's underway. They're nearing completion. And watch this. Now it came about when it was reported to Sanballat, Tobiah, to Geshem the Arab, and to the rest of our enemies that I had rebuilt the wall and that no breach remained in it, although at that time I had not set up the doors and the gates. That Sanballat and Geshem sent a message to me saying, "Come, let us meet together at Chepharim and the plain of Ono." But they were planning to harm me. These trolls didn't frickin' quit. And they're trying to range him. Kind of like somebody else. Debate me, Michael. Why would I debate the devil? That's a what? Waste of time. I got better things to do, like run my channel. Go ahead and let all these clowns sit on the edge of the wall going, they were accusing Nehemiah of subverting the king. Hey, dummy, he got permission from the king. And they do the same thing. Out of one breath, they say Michael's gay. Oh, Michael's against gays. Michael molests little children. Oh, Michael hates teens. They play both sides of the fence. Sanballat, Tobiah, the Horonite. What a bunch of clowns. Tobiah. Shoot. I'd be like, Tobiah, get out of here. Stupid. Geshem. Hey, Geshem, you sound like something I stepped on in the parking lot. And I got geesh on my feet. Ew. Trolls suck. And when you're doing God's work, they're going to be there. They're going to be right in the church. Even that worship leader said it yesterday. He said, you think being in the ministry is easy? He said, you better guess again. Sometimes it's easier to go to a job than be in the ministry. My pastor has told me here. I told him what was going on at work. He said, I'll trade you. And I said, what do you mean? Mike, I got adult children in here. And what you got going on at work? He said, when grown people are acting like babies. I said, well, they do it at my workplace. Yeah, Mike, but this is church. Do we really take the time to understand our pastor and what they're going through? I do simple things to amuse myself. I thank God for the ladies on this channel. Ladies, you've encouraged me. I thank God for the men on this channel. You've encouraged me. Sometimes it's hard to get up and face the day. I wish my life was like a Hollywood movie. But it isn't. It's the day in, the day out. A woman wrote me yesterday, I'm going through chemotherapy and your shorts give me hope. Your dancing, your singing makes me feel good. So all you little turtlets out there on the internet, you're not doing anything to benefit society. God is using me to encourage people, to pray for people, to give them hope. And I'm hearing over and over, women that are good looking, that I thought good looking women would never come on. They're here because they're seeing a real man be genuine and honest about my own flaws. Message to the men out there, stop playing artificial. I don't know why they're pushing artificial intelligence. But when you look at a woman in church, I'm doing well. Everybody's artificial, so it makes sense to have artificial data centers because we're stupid. The fact that we have artificial intelligence is a damnation to society. We don't need these data centers. Einstein didn't need a data center. Orville Wilbur Wright didn't need a data center. Marconi didn't need one. Thomas Alva Edison. What happened to frickin' brains? Oh, they're all rotting out on pot. That's right. I was going to read a book instead of a hat. Now we can't think for ourselves. We let the internet, we let CNN, we let somebody else, we let a pastor. People own your brain. Smith out like an anvil with the smelter and the tongs and that hot horseshoe and bang out your views. Stop being lazy. Think for yourself. Stop following the media or your people. Start thinking for yourself. You may not know this, communities outside of me, but as a white guy, I had to fight that. I grew up in white America. You did things this way and this way and this way, and if you didn't, there was something wrong with you. Think for yourself. The rewards are worth it. In the last week, I've had several black women for transportation calling. Mary was in here. Man, we missed you down there. That encouraged me because a year ago, I was like, my gosh. You know, the gospel is not racist. My channel is not exclusive. I want as many black and Asian and Hispanic people here as whites. The truth is the icebreaker that cuts through every culture, every race, every sex, everything. There is not going to be a black church or a white church in heaven. There's going to be the people of God. We are handicapped in our culture by situational dynamics, by our media, by our school systems, by the liars calling themselves news journalists, by Capitol Hill. I was talking to Jerish yesterday, and her little niece was there with all little beads in her hair. That little girl's lively. When the pastor says, do I have volunteers for the offering? She'll run down there and then beads clacking. And they let the little kids pass the offering plate around. I said, you know what? I respect my pastor for that. The kids want to be helpful. I can't speak for men, but I love diversity myself. I do not call it diversity when you are brainwashed into wrong thinking. And that goes for whites, blacks, Asians, Hispanics, Democrats, Republicans. I've seen the extremes all the way. Republicans making Trump to be the savior. That's a sin. That is a sin. And it goes for me. Don't put me on a pedestal. Put God on that. And you don't need to put God on it. He's where he is, Lord of all. You see anything in me that you think is good, don't praise men, praise God and pray for protection for me. Because if God is using me, the enemy's after me tenfold. I don't exactly like that. We're not supposed to be like other Christians. We need to be unique and respond to the calling that God has for us, whatever it is. We not need to, the only time we're supposed to be synchronized is when it comes to believing the truth. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. Too many churches I go to, they play whatever their culture's prevalent, which I understand that. But then they say they want to reach others. I'm like, well, the people that you want to come to this church don't listen to this kind of music. I don't know why whites refuse. Like me, I'm very international. I hear a song, I don't care who sings it. Trouble on my way, I have to cry sometimes. Why are we singing that? Is it too black for them? There's a leak in this old building, and my soul has got to move. Why can't we sing that? Jesus, he will fix it after a while. Did you hear that? After. We want this Pop-Tart, Zappums in the microwave response. Sometimes it's going to be a while before God moves the way you think he ought to move. When I was a bus driver, kids are loading and I stood in the aisle. Kids poured on the bus and I was trying to get kids seated. And all of a sudden I feel 10 kids just squeeze, shoving their body into mine. I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I put my hand out and I said, get back. I'm a grown man. You don't shove me. I'm trying to get to my seat. I said, no, you're not going to get to your seat when I'm standing right here. You say, excuse me, or you wait and watch what I'm doing. Shoving through me. Sometimes we think we can do that to God. Somebody came in my chat room and I almost put them on hide. You need to claim it in Jesus. Speak the reality. Hey, excuse me, you don't speak the reality with God. It says, be anxious for nothing. But with prayers and supplications with thanksgiving, bring your requests to God. And the peace of God that passes all understanding shall guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. You don't demand and manipulate God. He's not a pop machine where you put in 50 cents and push the button, I want a Coke. He's not a genie in a bottle where you rub it and say, yes, master. He's the everlasting God. And you get down on your knees and say, God, I need your help. And you let him choose the way he's going to do it. A little bit of entitlement with some Christians in America. That is not good. You don't get to manipulate God to give you what you want. You let your request be made known and you humble yourself. It's time to go. But you guys have a good day. Be safe. Stay cool. It's hot in the country. Drink lots of water. Put the monster drinks in the pop down. You should start your day with a big glass of water. You should do your flush, and water's the only thing that does. I've done enough personal watching of my own. I can drink fruit juice. I don't pee. There's water in that. You drink water, I will pee. When you are hot and you're not going pee, that's not good. Water flushes out toxins. Drink water when it's hot. It's okay to have your pop, but it shouldn't be the substitute. Actually, it's not okay to drink pop. Michael is anti-pop. It is crap. Fruit juice, the pure stuff without added sugar, is the best. But water is number one for flushing toxins. I can't underscore that enough. Use your turn signal, stop tailgating and stop speeding, and put your damn phone down. When you drive, it's not phone time. Put it down and live. Practical advice for people not being practical. Go figure. And if you don't like my shorts where I dance, then don't watch them. I want to express me, and I want to set people free. I don't expect everybody to be like me, but don't expect me to be like everybody. I'm done with that. It's not my cup of tea. Till next time.